It's equally valuable.
Please be clear, this is an invasion. Green Lantern is Liberty City, You wanna ride, let's ride through Liberty City. The evil genius live in Liberty City.
Well, national champion, he just, he's only been boxing for what, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
He's been boxing for 3 years. What former quarterback?
Former quarterback, University of Northern Colorado. Played 2 years there, then 2 years in junior college at Mount Sac.
Now, how'd you hear about the heavyweight program?
I actually got a phone call from the recruiter when I was doing the whole NFL camp thing and all that good stuff. So his name was Keith. His last name.
And what they say, there's a heavyweight division?
They just said they were trying to resurrect the sport. They said they were turning elite athletes into heavyweight boxers, and I thought I'd give it a shot. I am today.
How do you think your abilities as, a football quarterback or football quarterback's a very mental position where you have to think a lot. How do you think that's helped you towards being a good boxer?
It kind of helps you process things, in the ring. I'm looking at my opponent's advantages before he takes his shots or whatnot. One of the big advantages I thought was big was the footwork. Sitting in the quarterback position, working the pocket or whatnot. It transitioned real well into the ring and just being able to move around the ring, things like that.
As a trainer, how beneficial it is to get a fighter with good intelligence in them?
It's very important. It's key. I mean, it's a key to find a boxer that can think, that can find his way out through fights, and that you're able to communicate kind of like you would with a quarterback and his coach. Having my boxer come to the corner and say, hey, this is what we need to do to get it done. We're down by 3 points, man, and this is how we need to. This is the game plan. This is what we need to do to get through the fights. And for him to go out there and do just that, get through the fights and get the victory, it's just great. As you know, boxing is like no other sport, man. I mean, you only get one chance. You lose, you're out of the tournament. It's a must. It's a must-win situation in boxing. There's no such thing as, hey, you lose this week, I will get them next week. There ain't no such thing as that.
You don't play 16 games.
Right? You don't play 16 games in one season, man. You lose, you're out. So, you just got back from the Nationals. How important was that? Where you lose, you're out. Just got back from the Olympic qualifiers. You lose, you're out. So it's very important. It's much more at stake.
Now, looking as a young fighter, looking at the heavyweight division, professional heavyweight division as a whole, what are your thoughts on it?
There's some competitors there, but I think it's wide open for the grabs. Just because they're doing real well holding the belts over there, but the American fighter are climbing the ranks. I think when I get my shot to turn pro, I'm gonna make some critical moves and climb the ladder real fast.
If you could compare yourself to one fighter out there right now, style-wise, who would you compare yourself to?
Myself. I like to call my style a mirror image. Every boxer hates to box themselves, and I'm pretty good about mimicking other people's styles. I watched a lot of Rick Bowe when he was coming up, and actually as I've been coming up, and I love the way he boxes and his style and things like that. So, active fighters, I don't really watch any heavyweight boxers. I do go back to the histories of Rick Bowe's, Holyfields, and Lennox Lewis's and things like that. So,
what do you think of the young fighter nowadays? What do you think the old fighters had back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, heavyweight-wise, that the fighters they just don't have?
That's a tough question. What would you say on that, Coach?
Oh man, it's just that hunger. I mean, that luster.
Is life too easy for fighters nowadays?
I think, from a certain perspective, yes, it is. Yes and no. I mean, you just have to, pretty much. What are your priorities? And you have to have a goal in life, and say, hey, look at the big picture. Let's look at the overall picture, where we are today, and where we can be 4 or 5 years from now. Look at the overall picture, and that's where, you got to win that world title. You want to make money? If it's money you want, go out there and win me that world title. But you have to have a set goal. And
there's obviously money in the sport.
Correct.
A lot of people like to say the sport is dead. Floyd Mayweather just cashed $42 million in one fight. I mean, I've yet to see another sport that's able to make that much money in one night. What was it like the first time you put those gloves on?
Nerve-wracking, man. I didn't know what to expect. My first fight took place in Venice Beach. Thousands of people out there, tourists that I don't ever seen before, family in the crowd. I mean, there was people as far as I could see. And I knew the other guy that was fighting had a good, I think, 16 fights at the time. It was my first fight. So I knew I either had to give it all in my first round or none at all. I knew it was going to go the distance. I ended up only going 13 seconds. So it was definitely a confidence booster.
Has there been a point up to now where you maybe thought that this wasn't for you? Has that ever entered your mind?
Plenty of times. There's been times, especially when you take your first loss or second loss, things like that. When you lose the guys you know you should beat, you definitely doubt yourself. Hey, can I really do this, or can I do this? But when you start beating guys that are ranked and that have international experience, things like that, then confidence is in the sky. So.
Now, tell me a little bit about the experience of qualifying for the Olympics. How you were able to do that for the people that don't follow.
Yeah, going down to Rio, just winning the national title and all that good stuff. Being prepared was definitely one of the big keys of the tournament. Definitely being in shape. I know I had a tough time going into it. The first fight out, I had to face a former Olympian. Second fight out, I fought the military world champ from Brezeale. The third fight out, I had to fight the Central American champ. So I definitely had a roadmap ahead of me that was tough by all means. So it was definitely a tough battle to get to where I'm at.
It was not an easy draw.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, of course, you being the first successful guy coming out of this program, you do know there's going to be loads of expectations put on you, whether you want to or not.
I have no problem carrying the load. I've carried it thus far pretty good, and I did pretty well with the stress and the pressure and everything that comes with it. So it's been fun, more fun than it has been, a downfall. So
do you think that could ever get to you? Because the Americans, we've been starving for an American champion,
right.
And we've yet to get one in the last 10 years. How do you think you're going to be able to deal with that?
I'd love to be that next American champ. Gold medal is on our mind now, but heavyweight title is another thing in the near future, hopefully. The pressure's there for that, but I'm up for it. I'm definitely up for the challenge.
A big difference between the Olympics, of course, and professional boxing, they say, is the Olympics you're graded on more of how many shots you land, as to whether you control the ring, ring generalship and everything else is taken into the pro ranking. How do you think him being an amateur, being a successful amateur, is gonna transfer into being a successful pro?
Well, obviously, when the time comes, we'll be able to go ahead and make that transition. Right now, I don't think we should even have to think about that. Right now, we have a goal in mind, which is to go to London and win a gold medal. And we don't want to think about the pros right now. We're just taking one tournament at a time. We got through the nationals, got through the Olympic qualifiers. Now we got to get to London now. And once that is said and done, then we'll think about the pros.
Do you ever worry about the Olympics? Sometimes, if you look back in the history of the Olympics and boxing, you get that decision nowadays that a lot of people don't agree with every now and then. Are you ever scared that might happen to you one time? In a bout that you totally dominate, you might take the loss.
It happens a lot more than it should. I think it just happened to me this last final match in Brezeale. You got to go with what the officials are making the decision on. That's what their job is, and just respect it and go with it as much as you don't want to.
Would that be heartbreaking for you, though?
Of course. Of course, I'm going to be furious if that happens to me, but. Once a decision's made, I know you can make appeals, but it's pretty much set in stone at that point.
Everything happens for a reason. He lost in the finals in Brazil. He lost to the Pan American gold medalist, champion, and whatnot. And it was a good experience. We felt like he won the fight. Unfortunately, the decision didn't go our way. But it was best that this happened to us now and not in London.
Exactly. Are you happier that it's happening now and he's taking it as a learning experience?
Absolutely.
To where it won't happen to him?
Well, at this point with Dominic, everything is a building process. Every tournament is a new experience for him because he's never experienced this before. He's got a lot of talent, but he doesn't have the experience that maybe the majority of the boxers on the U.S. national team had. But he is the least experienced. He's got a lot of talent, but he's the least experienced. So we're trying to go ahead and take as much as we possibly can. All of that experience which just took place in Brazil, fighting at the nationals and whatnot. We're looking forward to a duel versus Cuba. How beneficial will that be for the Olympic Games? You know, we're looking forward to a duel versus the Ukraine. You know, I mean, we have to take all of that. We have to take all of that experience. We need it, and that's what's going to get us through the Olympic Games.
If you could say one last thing to the American public that, of course, is starving for the next Olympic star, what would you tell them?
Hard work, dedication pays off. That's what our motto would be here in the gym. Hard work and dedication is going to pay off.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you.